Good morning, good evening, depending on where you're dialing in from. My name's Emma Forbes, and I'm delighted to welcome you to our GSK webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope the webinar will be very useful for you all and a real opportunity for you to learn more about GSK, meet one of our senior leaders who has successfully come through our Global MBA Programme, and to hear more about the MBA Programme, which we call Esprit. So let's start with some introductions around the room. So as I said, my name's Emma Forbes. I'm the third person down there, as you can see, and I'm the Esprit Programme Director for our commercial programme. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about that later on in the webinar. So let me hand you over to Sabrina. Sabrina, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Sabrina Michelle, and I am currently a Field Vice President in the United States. You can probably pick up from my accent, I'm Canadian. But as Emma did mention, I am a graduate from the Selfdevelopment program. Albert.
Thanks, Sabrina.
Right, thanks, Sabrina. So my name is Albert Hammond, and I'm currently on the Esprit commercial program. This is my first year. I'm only 5 months into my first year rotation, and I'm aligned to the Pharma Europe organization within GSK.
Thanks, Albert, and over to you, Claire.
Hi everyone, my name is Claire Jones. I'm the Esprit Program Manager for our consumer healthcare business, and I'm delighted to be with you today, and looking forward to hearing more about what is going on at GSK.
Super, thanks everybody, great. So just for your information, for those of you on the line, the webinar will last for somewhere between 30 to 45 minutes. Thank you to those of you who did send us questions in prior to the webinar. What we've tried to do as we go through the webinar is make sure that we've answered those questions for you. So hopefully if you're one of those people that sent in a question, hopefully your answer will come out in the next 30 minutes or so. If you would like to ask a question during the webinar, you should be able to see in front of your question box. So please click on that and type your question in. And what we'll do over the next couple of days as we go through our webinars is to collate a question and answer sheet, and we'll email you all those as soon as we've finished our webinars. Okay, so I'm going to carry on talking for a little bit, and I'm going to talk to you about GSK. And I'm just going to spend a few minutes just telling you about GSK before I hand over to Albert and Sabrina. So who are we? So we're a global healthcare company. We research and develop innovative medicines, vaccines and consumer products. And I'm sure you know an awful lot about us. I'm sure you've been onto the websites and had a look. You've probably used our products, and as you know, they're used by millions of people around the world, allowing them to do more, feel better and live longer. And I really like that mission statement. It's a hugely motivating yet simple mission statement that really gets us all out of bed in the morning. And I think it's something that really unites us as an organisation. So what do? So we're one of the world's leading research-based healthcare companies with a share of around about 5% of the world's market. And last year, our turnover was in the region of about 26 billion. So our commercial business, so you can see there the 3 different units within our commercial business. So you can see there our pharmaceuticals business. So we develop and we make medicines to treat a whole range of conditions. And you can see them there in front of you. Cancer, heart disease, lupus, skin conditions. So an awful lot happens in our pharmaceutical commercial business. Vaccines. We research and make vaccines for children and for adults that protect us against infectious diseases. We distributed nearly 900 million doses of vaccines to 170 countries last year, potentially preventing really life-threatening and crippling illnesses. And again, I'll leave you to read the slide in front of you, but you can see the range of vaccines and our portfolio growing. And then slightly different, we have our consumer healthcare business, where we make some really innovative consumer products. Sensodyne being one of our real biggies, and recently it's become the business's sort of first billion-dollar brand, happened in 2012, so a billion-dollar brand for our sales. So, you know, that really boosted GSK for us. So our 3 commercial units, underpinned and supported, of course, by our global manufacturing and our supply chain, and of course our research and development unit, which really underpins the science-led innovation of all 3 of our commercial businesses. Okay, so where are we? Well, you can see there, I think, from that slide that, you know, we are pretty global. We've got 100,000 employees who are spread across the world. And I think, you know, what that means for people who are interested in a program like ours, Esprit, means we can really offer far-reaching opportunities for our people to really gain that business breadth of experience across the globe. So I think, you know, what we do is we don't offer just geographic diversity, but cultural diversity too, really understanding how business operates, not only in our developed countries, but also really helping to shape the developing economies too. And you can see there actually a significant and growing part of our business is in emerging markets in Asia. And you can see now that actually they represent nearly 40% of our employees. So we're really expanding in that geography now. Okay, so let's have a little talk about access to medicines. You know, I think I've already said it 2 or 3 times already, our vision, but you know, people in GSK really do get excited about our mission to do more, feel better and live longer. You know, it is, you know, it's really inspiring to be able to help people live better lives. Not only in our home country, you know, here in the UK or the US, wherever you might be sitting right now, but absolutely across the entire globe. So we're hugely motivated actually by our access to medicines agenda, which is what this slide is about. So really helping to build access in lesser developed countries. So really sort of making medicines affordable makes a really huge difference. And if we can help improve healthcare, you know, then we can help economies develop and grow, really building a stronger economy for the future, which of course in turn makes us into a far stronger company too. So we invest, you know, we invest 3.5 billion a year in R&D, but it's now estimated that actually it costs $1 billion and takes 8 to 10 years just to bring just one medicine to market. So you can see, you know, a truly inspiring company to work for, and you know, some of the great things we do, not just in our developed economies, but in our less developed economies too. So, and of course GSK, just lastly, I think just to say about GSK, that it is a company that truly values its people. They're absolutely central to our success. And we expect all our employees not only to be guided by our mission statement, but also through their work and by our values. And I'm just going to talk you through the GSK values, which sort of underpin the way we work in GSK. So there are 4 of them, and I'm just going to give you the sort of the headline title, just so you can think about what they might mean. So the first one is to show respect for our people. The second one, in all that we do, be patient-focused. The third one is commit to openness and transparency. And the 4th one is to always demonstrate the highest integrity in our conduct. Okay, so I'm going to pause there a minute. So that's GSK. If you have any questions, you know, please do type them in, and we'll try and answer those for you. Okay, so we're going to move on. I hope you've learned something there about GSK, but if you want to know more, please do visit our website. Okay, so I'm now going to hand you over to Sabrina and to Albert, and through interview, Albert's going to interview Sabrina, and through interview you'll learn more about how Sabrina, you'll learn more about her leadership journey through GSK. And she's going to answer some questions too around leadership capabilities in the healthcare industry. So over to you, Albert.
So hello everyone, and Sabrina.
Hi,
Thank
Albert.
you. Hello. Yes. Thank you again so much for taking the time out of your schedule to help us with this.
Pleasure. I'm happy to do it.
Thank you so much. So what I'm going to do is jump right into the questions, and why don't we start off really by asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier, I am a Canadian, and you can pick that up from a funny accent. So for those of you who are in the U.S., one of the things that I do get called out for a lot is the way I say out and about. So I do recognize that. But I'm a Canadian working in the U.S. business. I'm a field vice president within the cardiovascular, metabolic, and urology division here in the United States, which means that I am on the sales side of the business. Now, I've got an opportunity to work with a wonderful region of people, being the field vice president within the CDMU division. And I actually span a number of states. So for those of you who are familiar with U.S. geography, I've got Alaska right out to Missouri within my region. And got an exception of just a couple of states here and there, but as you can imagine, it's a pretty big swath of land. I'm also a former Esprit associate who recently graduated out of the program last December, offboarding into my current role. It's been quite a journey, and I'll take you through that in just a little bit in a moment too. But while I love what I do, I can tell you, same thing with any other GSKer out there. Work isn't necessarily 100% of my life. I love what I do, but it's not everything. I'm married to a wonderful husband who's moved around the world and back with me, and like any other good Canadian, I'm an ice hockey player too.
Right.
So that's a little bit about me, Albert.
Okay. So thank you so much, and I think what I really love is the way you've combined your career and all those extracurricular activities. So appreciate that. I think what I want to know, and I think what we're all excited to hear about really is, well, you've done all this stuff, but was GSK your first employer?
No. It actually took me a few years to eventually come over to GSK. So
Okay.
after graduating with a Bachelor's of Commerce degree, I was actually hired on by a large consumer packaged goods company, General Mills. So they're widely known for cereal products like Cheerios. And after a few years with them, I was recruited to work over at another consumer packaged goods company, Clorox. And through that time, I moved in roles of increasing challenge, moving back and forth between sales and marketing. And at the point in time when I left Clorox, I was a key account manager on our Walmart account, which was one of our biggest accounts. A fantastic experience, but really I was looking for a greater challenge, a bigger challenge. And I'm sure most of you who are on the line are in a similar boat. You guys are driven by challenge. You've decided to go back to school, get your MBA because you're still looking for something more. So that's exactly what I did. I went back to school, got my MBA, took on an internship at Johnson & Johnson in one of their medical device subsidiaries just between my first and my second year of my MBA. And that was my first experience in the healthcare-related organization. But my plan, in all honesty, was to stay with Johnson & Johnson after my MBA. It's a great company. But given this is a session for GSK, you can probably tell I didn't stick with that particular plan. And the reason being, like all good business schools, we had a career center with some good people who suggested that I apply for GlaxoSmithKline because of a leadership development program that was starting up. And I did. I applied. And frankly, it was the only company that I applied to. And when I got the offer, I had a tough decision to make. I had two great companies who both invest in people. But at the time, after doing some research into the Esprit program, thinking about what I would and what I would not compromise on, and also the extent to which GSK was willing to invest in me through the Esprit program. And when I talk about the investment is huge in me as an individual to develop my own leadership capabilities, to develop my career, to get me that breadth and depth of experience, it was, it couldn't really be compared to anything else out there. So I came over to GSK. So it did take me a couple of years.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Sabrina. And that's a great journey you just described. The next question really is to understand a little bit more about your career within GSK. And so the question really is, could you tell us about your career at GSK?
Sure. So as you can hear from that journey so far, I didn't have a background in pharma. There's no background in this particular industry. So not really having a good understanding of how our customers think, and in my mind, I'm not sure how you can arrive at a strategy or a tactic if you've never been in the shoes of a customer or in the last 3 feet in front of a customer. I decided to take on a role to gain that perspective. So my first role within GSK was in sales. And after almost a year, I moved from sales to government affairs. I was the policy analyst for a Canadian business. Then eventually I moved over to the Middle East to go work with our Middle East North Africa group in Dubai as a commercial development manager for the respiratory portfolio. After that, I did come back into Canada as a district sales manager where I had an opportunity to manage a great group of people. And then I was offered an opportunity to join our U.S. business to work in marketing on our largest brand, a product that's approved for both chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and also asthma, called Edgar. Most of you on the line are probably familiar with Edgar, also known as Seretide in some markets. And this role in marketing was my final role in the program, ending my 5-year, I like to call it a multi-country, multi-function journey. And as you see, I kept adding those books to my library, if you call it that, not only to add depth to my career, but also that breadth. And in my last year in marketing, I had a lot of conversations with HR and with my manager to get my arms around what might be that right next position for me. We looked at several options, but I really focused on what were my top 5 items that I wouldn't compromise on in choosing that next role, and everything pointed to the current role that I'm in right now. Now this is going to sound canned, but believe me, it's not. I really do have the Esprit program to thank for the foundation that's led me to the role that I'm in right now and that I love. Ultimately, you as an individual, you have to be the architect of your own career, but what GSK and the Esprit program offered me, on the other hand, is it's the opportunity to be exposed to so many different functional areas, so many different cultures, to eventually build the experiences to pull from, to form that library, or if you're a techie, a database that I can always carry forwards. So if I weren't in the program, would I be in the position that I'm in now? Honestly, I don't think that I could have been exposed to so many experiences in such a short period of time without the Esprit program. So the Esprit program really helped to form and to drive the experiences that I had to eventually build on my career. So it helped with that map piece of it too.
Where you really talked about why you decided to join the Esprit program. That's a great story. So what I'd like to ask now is about what do you think about the leadership competencies that an individual would need in a leading pharmaceutical organization such as GSK?
That is a fantastic question, because developing leaders, it's a significant focus of ours in GSK. And when we talk about the talent pipeline, or when we talk about overall development, this is a topic that it doesn't just get a lot of airtime. We don't just talk about it, but there's a lot of action around it as well. So in a period of significant change like right now, it's critical for both GSK and the healthcare system overall more broadly that we do have leaders who can step up and lead. So strong leaders overall are the individuals who are going to take an organization like ours and the people within the organization to places that they didn't think that they'd be able to go to or to be able to do on their own. So then that means that we need leaders who can inspire their teams. It also means that we need leaders who can develop their teams. And it also means demonstrating the values of the organization, and putting it all together to execute for the patients that we serve at GSK. So a great leader in GSK is someone that can inspire their teams, get them engaged around that greater good for the organization. And again, like I said earlier, it's the patients that we serve. We are always looking for someone who can build a diverse team, a team that values diversity of perspectives, so that we can eventually challenge our thinking, stretch our thinking, challenge ourselves to be the best that we can be, and not necessarily simply abide by the old ways of doing business, but to have that courage and external focus and be guided by our values to be able to lead at that higher level versus at the same level of the rest of our peer group across the industry. The environment around us, it's getting faster every single day. And in order for us to evolve and be successful as an organization, we need to continuously be building on the capabilities of our teams and inspire them. You know, these are some of the same words that I say over and over and over again. You need to build, you need to inspire, you need to develop to be able to stay ahead of the changes we see in the marketplace. So back to your initial question. Sorry, that was long-winded, but back to your initial question. What do we want from a leader? We want someone that sets direction and inspires. This means that they create that clear vision for people and how their work contributes to the greater organization. Secondly, we also want someone who works across boundaries. So think about partnerships with individuals outside of their functional area or their business unit. Thirdly, we want someone who, we'll call it, releases energy. And this is really about engaging with people to understand their needs to get the best execution out of them. And fourth, we want someone who develops capabilities and talents. And this is about building the organizational capabilities to move strategies. And fifth, we want someone who can drive performance. That includes holding yourself, your teams, and others accountable for delivering results. And the sixth and the final leadership behavior with this is living our values, being a role model of our values. A great leader in GSK is someone who really exhibits all of these GSK behaviors in everything that they do. So that's a long answer to your question about leadership competencies.
No, we appreciate that. Thank you so much. I want to move on to the next question, which is about what you feel like. What is it like being a female, a female leader within GSK?
So this is a funny question that I get a lot, and that stumps me over and over and over again. So the short answer is, it's no different than being a male leader in GSK. Now, I get asked this question every once in a while, and it does get me to stop and reflect. Opportunity-wise, being a woman, I've had no less opportunities than my male counterparts, so I've never really had to consciously think about it. So we do have an inclusive culture that promotes diversity. We do have a focus on accelerating women throughout the talent pipeline, and we are making fantastic progress. As an example, 5 of our board are women, 2 of our 4 commercial presidents are also women. But all this to say, it's really no different being a woman leader versus being a male leader in GSK.
There's a final question which I want to bring up, which is, what advice would you give to listeners on their own careers and how to be successful?
So one of the things that I mentioned earlier is this architect concept. You know, you are the architect of your own career. We can help you build a great career. We can give you lots of development experience, lots of opportunity, but ultimately you have to be the architect of your own career. How do you do that? First of all, at the highest level, Andrew Whitty, our CEO, he put it best when he came to speak with our group a number of years ago. He said, you say yes as often as possible. So when someone comes to ask you if you're up to doing a project, you say yes. If someone comes up to you and asks you if you're open-minded to work overseas, you say yes. And at this stage in your career, you should be maximizing the flexibility, or the diversity of the opportunities that come your way, and say yes to as much as what you can say yes to. But taking a look at sort of that development process of things, on the other hand, So we do have HR processes, and similar to many other companies, we've got a personal development plan process, and within that, or it actually falls within this, it's closely tied to what you're seeing on the screen right here with the GSK Leadership Development Framework. You need to have conversations with mentors, with managers, with coaches, but ultimately there is some type of a structure in there to your development. We call it the 70-20-10. So if you take a look at the slide that's in front of you right now, you see 70% on-the-job development, 20% developmental relationships, and 10% formal development. What this means is 70% of your development is on the job through roles like, you can see this here, challenging self in the current job, expanded job responsibilities, taking on additional projects. Another big one is job rotations, secondments, temporary assignments. But again, 70% of the development should be on the job. Now, 20% is through developmental relationships. That's oftentimes looking at getting a mentor, mentoring, getting a coach as well, or getting feedback. Ultimately, it can come from peers, it can come from up, it can come from across, and it can come from down. But it's developing through those personal relationships. And then lastly, there is that 10% formal development. That's when we're looking at, there's the coaches, there's the courses, there's the books, there's the articles. But oftentimes when people think of self-development, they're just focused on that 10% and that's it. And they treat it as if it's the 100%. When realistically, development, it starts on the job, and that should be the majority of the development. So whatever you can do to pull through your development and pull through your development plan on the job, the better. So a couple of things to sum this all up. Overall, take advantages of the opportunities that come your way to continue to develop yourself, and don't think of them as strictly formal development. And with this, say yes to as many opportunities as you can say yes to. So does that help answer your question, Albert?
This is great. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And thank you for sharing your journey, your insights on leadership. What I'll do now is hand over to Claire to tell you about the Esprit program.
Great, thank you. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the Esprit program that Sabrina has so brilliantly described from her own experience. And here at GSK, Esprit is our sort of accelerated development program to help develop a pipeline of leaders of the future. And here, Sabrina has already shared a little bit about this, so I won't spend too much time on this slide. But you can see that the program is structured to give you that 70-20-10 experience. And one of the things I wanted to highlight is actually that one of the real benefits of our Esprit program is an opportunity to network and develop relationship with our senior leaders. So we do spend time to ensure that those people on program do get that visibility with our corporate executive team and also the senior leadership teams in the regions to make sure that you're really getting the best relationships to help you as you progress in your career. So our Esprit program is accelerated development and offers you tailored rotations throughout your time on program. Our program exists across multiple business units. As you heard earlier, we have a number of areas in GSK which we focus on. And we have our commercial and our finance programs. And also we have programs in our research and development and medical businesses as well. Commercial is split between our consumer healthcare, pharmaceuticals and vaccines business, so we really value this program across the business as a whole. Here you can see a little bit about our commercial program and the framework that we use to guide us throughout the time on program. It's a 3 to 4 year program, and you would have 3 to 4 rotations of 12 months. You have exposure across a breadth of experiences, so sales, marketing, tailored roles to your own development, and also line management responsibility would be built in there throughout your time. This enables you to really make a positive difference to our patients and consumers and to really become embedded in the ethos of GSK. Here we've also outlined a little bit about what you should expect when you're on the programme, which is stretching and challenging roles to ensure that you have that robust 70% of learning. And one of the things that we really are very proud of is our ability to send you around the world on global assignments, again giving that oversight of different countries, different cultures to really grow your skills and experiences. We also ask that you develop your people leadership skills, which is really vital as you become a leader of the future, and also have exposure to managing complexity, working with people outside of the organisation, and working at a local, regional and global perspective. We also have our finance programme, which is very similar in many ways, and here you can see that the programme is over 3 rotations as well, one of which will focus on finance partnering, which is one of the key capabilities for our finance business, where it's working with the businesses as a true partner. And then also you would have exposure to some strategic or corporate finance functions, and then finally a leadership role. And you can see again here that you will spend some time internationally whilst you're on this programme. And again, we've got some core capabilities that you'll be building. You'll notice that those leadership capabilities are common across the programme, but we also have some key finance and finance business partnering capabilities that you will be building during your time on programme. What we also wanted to do is to show you the truly global nature of the programme, because this is something which I think really helps our associates to be successful in the future. And here you can see that the footprint of the programme is pretty global and growing, so the world is your oyster if you choose to come and join us here at GSK. At the moment we're actually looking for people to join our programme for 2014, and we have opportunities available across the globe already. So you can see here that for our pharmaceuticals business there's a long list of countries who are searching for associates to join them. For consumer healthcare, a small but perfectly formed group of countries, and also for finance, another stream of countries that you can apply for. What we require from you to join these 2 programs is for you to have an MBA or a relevant postgraduate degree, for example, a Master's in Finance. We also ask that you have a passion for and an understanding of our healthcare industry, and have demonstrated your capability and impact through leadership and innovation in past experiences. Each programme has slightly different basic requirements, and you can find out more about that, and we're going to show you how you can do that in a moment. One of the other things that we ask for is fluency in the language of your home country or the home country you apply for, and also business English. The other requirement is that you're lawfully authorised to work in the market for which you apply for the duration of that programme, so that is something which is quite important. And of course you've heard from Sabrina that saying yes and being flexible is really important to be successful in your leadership journey. So that's one of the things that we do ask of you, and your ability to be globally mobile, because you will definitely have the opportunity to go moving around the world. So what to expect if you do make an application? Our applications are open until the 11th of October, so you've got a good week to get your application together and go online and make that for us. And then following that, if you're successful in reaching the next stage, you will be interviewed via telephone or face-to-face, dependent on the market that you're applying to. And again, if successful, we hold assessment centres. These are quite intensive, over a day and a half, and those will take place in a few hubs around the globe, so US, UK and potentially in Singapore. And then finally we look to let you know the outcome of that assessment centre, and ideally within 2 weeks of that event, with the intention that you'll join us sometime during mid-2014. So we're very keen to have you come join us, and that will be sometime next year. So I'm going to leave you with this slide here, which tells you how to apply online, which is at gskbigquestions.com, and then go and search for the requisition ID listed out here for. I'm not going to read these out, but these will be on the screen for a short time. And just a reminder that these close on the 11th of October. And that will be close of business US time, so our latest time zone in the globe. And I'm now going to pass over to Sabrina just to finish our presentation to you.
Thank you. I'm just happy that so many of you could make it to this session. And really, thanks for taking the time out of your day to join us today. Invest in yourselves, learn a little bit about GSK and the Esprit program. I'm just hoping that we could successfully convey who GSK is, the values that underpin everything we do, and also, most importantly, the Esprit program as part of this session here. If you have any questions at all, please do go to our website, and you see the Apply Online here. You'll be able to find a lot more information there as well. So good luck in your journeys, and wish you all the best. Thank you.